Week 2 of The Bachelorette is over, and with our first major rose ceremony out of the way, you know things are kicking into high gear for the season ahead. And in this preview breakdown, we are not only going to cover what's going down next week, but I've also got some hometown confirmations, final filming confirmations, and even possibly the identity of the mystery Final 3 guy for Gabby. All of this thanks to viewers from my season preview breakdown, which you should go check out if you haven't. But enough of the chit-chat, we've got a preview to break down, so you know the one rule. Please, no posting any blatant spoilers in the comment section below unless it's been sleuthed out from official sources, and if you want to watch the full uninterrupted preview, a link to that is in the description.
Ready for my close-up.
Gabby and I want to feel chosen.
Your smile melts my heart.
Oh.
Right now, I feel so loved and seen. It's really such a good feeling.
Alright, enough of the naked dudes. I swear, in all the seasons I've covered, I don't think I've ever had to censor over so many ding-dongs so early to prevent the YouTube bot from getting angry at me. And that includes Bachelor in Paradise, where they're in bikinis and swim trunks all day. But here, we're getting a classic Bachelor franchise group date, the photo shoot date, likely led by the Bachelor's resident photographer, Franco Lacosta. And boy, the producers must really like Nate, cause they got him set up in the full suit and gown with Gabby, while Jacob gets to be naked again. Either that, or they're trying to rile up some jealousy in the house after Nate's stellar date with Gabby the week before, and now having this. Otherwise, we're also seeing one of our one-on-ones for the week, as Eric and Gabby are going to be headed out bowling, and they'll also be visited by a special guest seen just ahead.
It's really such a good feeling.
Have you got a date for me?
This is all about finding love, and I feel like I'm gonna remember this for the rest of my life. It just feels like a really beautiful start to what could be something really amazing.
So yes, we've got our other one-on-one for the week with Rachel and Zach, plus Grandpa John. Back in the season preview, we saw Grandpa John with Gabby on the same date, where he says this about Eric.
So what do you think?
No, he's a piece of
Classic Grandpa John. But we're also seeing a number of shots with Rachel here that you might recognize from the night 1 preview. This date with Zach seems to have some sort of movie theater theme, as it matches with this shot from the season preview. Then there's this football field date with Avon that we sleuthed out was in SoFi Stadium, and then there's this shot with Hayden. But for now, I want us to just take note of this shot and also the stadium one and move on, as we'll be coming back to these shots later. There's some more information surrounding them about how next week is going to play out, but we need more footage to piece it all together. So, let's keep going.
If you were the only person here, I don't think I could have the heart to continue.
I don't want a woman like you. It hurts to hear. Because there's 2 of us, I think they can act that way.
Okay, pausing here to point out some major fake-outs going on in this section of the preview. So this conversation with Jacob and Gabby is not going to be with Jacob and Gabby. Take note of what she's wearing here. Matches what she was wearing in this shot, where Rachel says because there's 2 of us, they think they can act that way. Which, if you note what Rachel is wearing, is also the same dress from the football field stadium shots with Avon and Tino. Now, most likely, even though we're only seeing footage of 2 guys on this date with Rachel, this is where the evening portion of the photoshoot group date takes place, and all the group date men are going to be there. And what Rachel is likely referring to is something they've been building up to since the first episode. Both Gabby and Rachel are getting frustrated with the men being wishy-washy with who they want to pursue. And this is going to lead to a major change at the upcoming rose ceremony. But before we get into that, I also just want to point out, in Jacob's defense, he might not be talking to Gabby or Rachel when he says, if you were the only person here, I don't think I could have the heart to continue. For all we know, this could be Jacob chatting to the other men about what someone else said, or about the situation they're going to be in for next week's episode. He's also definitely in his group date outfit. We'll see what he wears at the rose ceremony later on. But some of the information on the end of the episode is stuff we'll be getting into right ahead.
I don't know if I have the capacity to keep doing this week after week.
Will you accept this rose?
Dude, the girls just walked out.
My brain is spinning right now.
Alright, pausing here to point out a rose ceremony you might recognize from the season preview. The rose ceremony where this happens.
Will you accept this rose?
I'm sorry, I cannot. I'm here for Gabby.
I am gonna have to decline the rose.
I don't know how I'm supposed to fall in love when no one gives a about me.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So 3 guys are going to be rejecting Rachel's rose and decide to be Team Gabby. But what's really happening here? Well, Gabby saying I don't have the capacity to do this week after week is more evidence to suggest that Rachel and Gabby will be deciding enough is enough, the guys are going to have to pick a lane. No more situations like the one that happened last week, with Logan pursuing both of them and one of them having to step aside so the other can give him a rose. But note, Rachel's not the only one that's going to have a man express their intentions for the other lead. Remember this shot from before? It matches this moment from the season preview.
I do have my intentions solely for Rachel.
Now, the funny thing is, neither of these shots are actually from the pre-rose ceremony cocktail party next episode. This is actually a shot of Gabby on her date with Nate from last episode, and this shot of Hayden doesn't actually match what he's wearing at that rose ceremony. But that's something I'll talk about in just a little bit. For now, let's finish off this preview and we'll talk more about the rose ceremony, as well as go over eliminations for next week and some of the new endgame revelations I talked about at the beginning of the video.
I want to know what the hell happened.
This whole thing is just not working for them.
That's bad. It's really bad.
I'm leaving. I'm literally quitting.
So alright, there you have it. And there are a few things I want to point out in this last section. First is Jesse Palmer saying this whole thing is just not working for them. This is likely Jesse telling the guys about the change in the show's format at the upcoming rose ceremony, where they're going to have to pick a lane. But also, note Quincy here saying, I want to know what the hell happened. This is surely from the evening portion of the group date, as his outfit here is not a match with the one he's wearing in this shot, which seems to be what he's wearing for the rose ceremony. Something we can confirm by going back to those Rachel rejection shots from earlier and seeing him in the background right here. But also in this shot, we can see what Hayden is wearing. And this is different than what he was wearing in this shot before, where he fills Gabby in on his intentions for Rachel. Meaning this likely happens at the evening portion of the group date. And maybe this moment is the straw that breaks the camel's back. Something Bachelor production didn't want to give away, so instead, they put in a fake out with Jacob. Perhaps at this group date, Hayden rejects Gabby, leading to her being upset here, leading to Quincy asking what the hell happened, leading to Gabby talking with Rachel, leading to both of them going it's time for the men to make a decision. Which brings us to the rose ceremony. Now, who's going to be eliminated and who's staying is quite hard to suss out with all the major rule changes happening this season. Like Tremaine has had no screen time, but here he is being asked to receive a rose. So you'd assume he's staying. But just because Rachel has offered him a rose, does that mean Gabby will be offering him one too? Who's to say Rachel offers him one but Gabby refuses? We don't know the rules here, so we're in uncharted waters. And I'd keep an eye out for Jacob as well, as in this shot, we only see a few men left, and Jacob is the one right here, as his face can be seen more clearly in this shot. We also know that Hayden here makes it to the cruise ship, so maybe Jacob is one of the men left standing without a rose. And if we pair up these shots, there are only so many roses left. Now, we also can't factor out another major rule change, like they did night 1. For example, they might have Gabby and Rachel go, alright, you 3 or 4 dudes, or 5, or whatever, are going home right away, and the men that are left over now have to pick a lane, meaning everyone here would be getting a rose. However, I will just point out men like Michael, Matt, and Kirk are virtually invisible in both the previews and the episodes, so do with that what you will. This is a very unusual season, so we can't say for sure this week, but you know, they'll likely be gone sooner rather than later. But finally, let's now talk about some hometown and possible Final 3 updates that you, the viewers, caught and commented on from the season preview breakdown. First and foremost, let's talk about Johnny. As of now, we've got him in Gabby's Final 4, and that looks to be panning out. As before, we'd speculated that this was Johnny right here, and someone from the area confirmed that this skyline looks a lot like Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, where Johnny is from, meaning hometown. And speaking of hometowns, in the season preview breakdown, I pointed out this shot with Tyler and its carnival-esque background. Something that might match this shot with Rachel and a somewhat similarly themed background with her. Well, I'm bringing this up because there was a scene that caught my attention last episode when Tyler and Rachel were playing arcade basketball at the cocktail party.
My job, I own a seasonal business on a boardwalk.
The Jersey Shore Boardwalk?
Jersey, yeah, exactly.
Is that where you work?
Yes, my
No way.
brother and I own a bunch of basketball games up there.
very interesting information about his job, and this led me down the path of trying to identify any of the attractions in the background of this shot and connect them to the pier in Wildwood, New Jersey, where Tyler is from. And lo and behold, we've got Music Express, the same ride as seen here, meaning that's confirmation Tyler will be getting a hometown with Rachel. But that's not all the viewer sleuthing, as commenters also confirmed that this cenote right here is from Mexico. A very important bit of information, as we theorized that all of these tropical location shots are going to be from the end of the season, Final 3 and onward, leading me to theorize that men like Avon would be making it into the Final 3 with shots like this. However, one commenter pointed out a shot I missed that might also be in this tropical location and reveal the mystery Final 4 man for Gabby that we've yet to solidly identify. And that is this shot right here with Ethan. Now, of course, this could still be a shot from when they're in California, but it's interesting to note that Ethan can be seen in the top 11 in this shot on the cruise ship from the season preview. So, while it's not 100% proof, it is the first clue as to who this extra man in Gabby's Final 4, or 3, is going to be. So that's it for this preview breakdown for week 3 of The Bachelorette. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment any of your sleuthing and theories down below. And until next time, Bachelor Fantake out.
I want to know what the hell happened. This whole thing is just not working for them.
That's bad. It's really bad.
I'm leaving. I'm literally quitting.